What is up with it, everybody? Top of the hour here, 2:00 a.m. Friday, March 1st. Wake up, wake up.
It's the first of the month.
Ball Knowers, WIUR, Gales Radio, alongside Luke Dolan.
How's everyone doing?
I am Cameron Woolley. So I'm just going to be talking about a couple of things today that's really the slow time of the sports calendar, really like the late February, early March. Not really that much to talk about. I mean, like, even in hockey,
it's the week before the trade deadline.
Like, week before trade deadline, we're going to lead off with that. Both of our teams, I mean, my team made a move. And
well, you were a part of a move.
We were part of a move, which, like, some Devils fans are livid about it. I don't really care that much.
You get a free asset, basically.
Yeah, we got a free asset for trading a unsigned goaltender that we drafted in 2019.
You're already gonna need a better goalie anyway. So what's that goalie gonna do for you right now?
Yeah, you get a free Magic Bean for the cap space that you're probably not gonna use. And to be honest, I don't know if I really want the Devils to really, really buy. Like, even though they are, even though they're definitely in it, like, buy every cent. Hold up. Oh God. Like, even though they are technically still in it, this team on paper, even without Dougie Hamilton and with their goaltending, they're talented enough with the right pieces in place to.
You probably need a defenseman too.
Yeah, like this team realistically needs
goalie
to be a force to be reckoned with when they're rolling is another solid defenseman and a good goalie. Like, that's the weird thing about, and a better coach. That goes without saying. I'm just talking about the roster, like the players that you ice.
Mm-hmm.
And what's been going on with the Rangers in terms of their deadline?
So Pat Verbeek was at the Rangers Columbus game on Wednesday night.
Oh boy!
Though I'm not reading too much into that because he does go to hockey games on his own volition. Just not even like
former New Jersey Devil Pat Verbeek,
former Ranger too.
Really, Pat Verbeek was a Ranger?
Yep, he was.
I just know him from his time with the Devils. I don't know, just like 80s, like the late 80s, like John McClane, Kirk Muller, Chico Rash, those Devils.
Jack just said, like, would you be better out with he was a former Whaler too, Pat Verbeek.
Oh, really? Hartford Whaler.
But would you say like maybe depth defenseman and goaltending are fixed in the offseason then for the Devils that they don't do it here? What would you prefer then?
If I saw more consistency out of the Devils, I would be all for them really buying. If they were in a playoff spot, if they were in a wild card spot and they really showed signs over the last month of being able to really put it together, even after that thrashing of the Sharks this week, which I am well aware of and I'm happy with.
Yeah.
But
you have to beat the teams
I don't think the Devils, as of right now, are in the position where they can really go for broke and take advantage of that LTIR space. And as awesome as that would be, if the Devils took advantage of really the system in place to add a couple of guys, add a goalie,
like the Vegas Golden Knights are doing right now with
like the Tampa Bay Lightning did. Yeah, hey, I got no problem with cap circumvention.
Hey, it's
the system in place. It's what they do.
But did you see what happened with the Golden Knights? With Mark Stone, he's out for the regular season.
Yeah, that's what the Lightning did with Nikita Kucherov because they knew that they knew they could survive without him. And I'm going to be honest, I think if the Devils had a better coach and better goaltending, I think the Devils would have been in that position too with Dougie Hamilton, where they could have been like, okay, we were able to do without him for a while,
but now
like we were like, in a playoff spot, we were like fighting for one. There was no real legit concern, at least there wasn't real concern until like last month, where it was like, oh wow, this team might not make the playoffs. Another issue is if this team could score first for once in their lives, like that. This Devils team is why I hate the mentality of, oh, we'll get one back. Because if you score first, you win your games at a much higher rate.
It's not a good thing to play. It's not the best way to play when you're down.
Yeah, you should never be playing from behind.
It's just weird because the
really
Devils can definitely make the playoffs, because I don't know how to feel about the Flyers still. Because
I think pound for pound, both teams playing at their best. I think the Devils wiped the floor with the Flyers in a playoff series.
Like Danny Briere is looking for any reason to sell, but the Flyers are not giving him a reason to sell.
Yeah, and it would be smarter for them to sell, but again,
they're playing if
you're tanking, why are you keeping John Tortorella as your coach? I almost want the Flyers to fire John Tortorella so he can come to the Devils and turn them into a legit contender. Hey, even though he is a head case and a maniac, I would love John Tortorella to be this team's coach.
Yeah, Torts. But Torts does what he does best. Does more with less. That's his MO.
Meanwhile, he has an actual talented team and he can't do anything with it. And the
Devils, the U.S. World Cup of Hockey team.
Okay, that team was horribly built.
Okay, yeah,
because Stan Bowman's the GM of U.S. Hockey, and for the Olympics, Bill Guerin is going to be the GM.
Even though it probably should be made Chris Drury.
Chris Drury, hey, I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah, he gets some flack. And I mean, deservedly so for some of the movies made, but also some of the other movies he's made have been really good. Like trading for in 2022, the 2022 trade deadline.
The 2022 trade deadline was
he cooked that deadline.
That there were so many guys from that trade deadline for the Rangers who contributed, in like Frank Vetrano.
And they basically got him for free basically, a 4th round pick. Like, yeah, we'll take that you on that. And now he's got
the gaslighting GMs with their own imagination.
Well, so they had to move Vetrano because they were trying to make room to get Claude Giroux.
Boy, that really worked out for the Florida Panthers.
God, I really wanted that team to do well, but then they just
got Florida Panthers. I mean,
and then they went to the final the next year.
So go figure. The year they win the President's Trophy, they get swept
in the second round.
And then the year they squeak in as the 8th seed to make it to the
they go to
on
the run of a lifetime.
Now they're a well-oiled machine. That's freakishly good. Paul Maurice is the head coach. Go figure.
Yeah, he's a.
I thought his career was done
when he left Winnipeg.
Yeah, well, I thought he aged himself out of the league. I'm saying this as my team's head coach is Lindy bleeping Ruff, but
yeah, I always felt Paul Maurice was a decent coach. Though it's just the thing that gets me is that he took the Hurricanes to the final the early 2000s in 2002.
Really, he's been coaching for that long.
And then he was replaced by Peter Laviolette, who took them to the Stanley Cup
and won the Stanley Cup for them.
But then Peter Laviolette gets replaced by Paul Maurice in Carolina. It's just so I that's fascinating to me personally, and Peter Laviolette's a good coach.
Oh yeah, he's done a great job.
And the Rangers. I've got to be honest. If you were to tell me, I could not have been more lukewarm towards him. When they hired him, all right, fine.
Lukewarm.
Yeah, exactly. I was not. I felt uninspired by it. But then now he's doing so much. He's built a really good coaching staff too. He's brought in Michael Pekka, and his effect. The Rangers are now one of the best faceoff teams in the league right now. They have not had a season above 50% in the faceoff dot since 2009.
Wow.
They have not finished a season.
That is.
And that always drove me crazy.
And there were multiple teams that made it to the 3rd round and Stanley Cup final in that stretch of time. where they weren't winning faceoffs at a positive clip.
Yeah,
Who knows? Maybe if they won faceoffs, they would have.
Which is weird because we had guys like Brian Boyle and Dominic Moore who were like kings in the faceoff dot.
Dominic Moore.
I love Dominic Moore.
Hey, you'll never hear me say a bad thing about Brian Boyle either.
Yeah,
because of his time with the Devils. But also like because he got, he came back. I think he had
he can't
leukemia or something.
I think so. I think
it was some form of cancer, and he came back. He scored a goal in his first game, and
I always have a soft spot for Dominic Moore because he
you met him once, right?
I have. I was at a Smash Fest, which is a foundation for head injuries or for cancer research because his wife passed away from liver cancer, and also his brother was Steve Moore, the guy who Todd Bertuzzi sucker punched, and ended his career.
Todd Bertuzzi, dude, that guy was
a problem, but
yeah. The word to describe him is not a word that I can say on here.
Yeah, and but Dominic Moore he's played for 10 different teams or 12 different teams or something like that. It's crazy. He and Mike Sillinger played for so many teams.
Mike Sillinger? Wait. Is Cole Sillinger his son or something?
Oh yeah.
There's so much of that in hockey.
I know.
There's so much nepotism in hockey. That is insane.
Hockey has the most sibling or relative connections in all the sports. Which honestly,
look at the Hughes brothers.
You know
the Stastnys.
The Stastnys, the Kachucks. You know the Kachucks are cousins with Kevin Hayes?
Really?
Yeah.
He goes over to their house for Thanksgiving and
whatnot? I assume so. They're cousins.
I assume they're distant cousins.
Probably.
So maybe not holiday. I figured it's something that you find out a little bit down the line. It's
but I just know that they're cousins. And that's wild to me. And I love Kevin Hayes. I love Kevin Hayes so much. I know
you got he was pretty good with the Rangers.
He was pretty good with the Rangers. I always liked Kevin Hayes.
I remember I wanted the Devils to maybe take a shot at him.
Yeah.
When he was on the trademark, I'm like,
He's someone that could be moved, but I don't know if the Rangers are the team that would
need
really
wingers though.
They need wingers.
They need wingers. They need forwards.
I guess going back to answering what the Rangers are going to be doing, which we didn't really answer. I didn't really answer. But
yeah, you didn't really. We sort of went off on that.
We had a whole other tangent, but they definitely need a winger. That's for sure, and they probably need one more forward that can play wing or center. Both of them. So
you got to come in faceoffs.
Yeah, you know who I kind of circling in on someone like Nick Bukestad, personally, because hey, he plays all situations for Arizona right now, and he's got 31 points in 50 games
on the Arizona
Coyotes. He's playing on their power play. I think he's on their second unit though, but he's playing on their penalty kill, and he's hovering around 50% in the faceoff dot, which I think it will get better if he gets into the live with Mike Pekka. And Bukestad plays center and wing, so that helps. And he's also extended past this year, which is helpful in a lot of ways because the Rangers don't know the status of Filipino going to next year. Even I don't even know if he'll even play again. That's a speculation for me. That's just my speculation because he's suffered a bunch of head injuries already.
Man.
So it's good. It's good to probably have that security at least for next year. And also, it makes the prospect of buyout Barclay Goodrow that much more possible. And the buyout for Barclay Goodrow was actually really, really helpful for the Rangers. And throughout the whole time. So the first year you save all of the cap, but also you get an extra $250K.
What's the cap hit over the extended period of time?
So it goes to $1 million the next year of dead cap, then 3.5 million of dead cap, and then the next 3 years is 1.1111 million for 3 years. None of those years exceed his current cap hit right now. So it honestly would be favorable to probably buy him out this offseason, which I don't know if they'll do. It will be easier.
Those buyouts, you got to be careful.
I know.
You got to be really careful. It was the Devils.
The Rangers themselves.
I think the Devils bought out Corey Schneider, and I don't know if they're still paying him or if the dead cap hit
I know that. I know they gave them
expired.
I know they gave them like an amnesty buyout. Like I think when they signed a CBA back in 2013, where they allowed you to get like one amnesty buyout, which didn't count towards the cap. I don't know if that's what they used on Corey Schneider or not.
I don't know, but I mean
But
the Devils are still paying recapture penalties on
for
Ilya
Ilya
Kovalchuk.
Kovalchuk. Man, the Rangers are still paying for Brad Richards because of the amnesty buyout.
Brad Richards, really?
None of his counts towards the cap, but he's still like on the record.
So he's still on their books.
He's still on their books, but he doesn't.
Like he's still getting a check for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty. That's an annuity.
That's also what the Islanders did with Rick DiPietro.
Is he still on?
Yes.
On the book? How long?
Like 2031.
Oh.
So again, it doesn't count against the cap.
I mean, even in our sports, like the Mets with Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, I mean, but that does contribute to the payroll, though. Unfortunately.
Wait, he's still on the luxury tax payroll?
I don't know.
Wait.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how
the Bonilla contract count toward the luxury tax.
I don't.
Please tell me it does.
It probably does. I don't. I'm not too. I'm not really into.
So here's it with the Bobby Bonilla. No, maturing is realizing that the Bobby Bonilla contract is actually a really smart situation for the Mets. It's like his agent. Like I think I remember hearing somewhere that don't hold me to this, but I remember that I think his agent was a financial advisor, and he put in like an annuity clause in his contract.
It's like
it's basically $1 million annuity that runs until what is it 2030
2035
2035
something like that
2035 or 2036. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's
at
funny,
least a decade from now.
I mean, yeah, it's like it's funny to point laughing the Mets. Low Mets, good one. But honestly,
well, with the Mets, I mean,
first of all,
July 1st is that's Bobby Bonilla Day. It's
a
national holiday. I forgot to text you on Bobby Bonilla Day last year.
Forget again this time.
No, I'm not forgetting this time.
But
I text my co-host back. I text Ming back home. Ming Chen, the great co-host of the Cameron Woolley show.
I got a guest star on that show.
At some point, you'd love. Ming's a massive Devils fan, so you'd be in a 1v2, but he's nice. Like he's literally one of the nicest, like not mean people I've ever met.
Good qualifications right there. But I want to say,
like we text each other about like whenever I'd go into the studio on Bobby Bonilla Day, be like, "Oh, happy Bobby Bonilla Day," and then we'd do it. We'd always do the open with like, "Happy Bobby Bonilla Day," where the New York Mets pay Bobby Bonilla $1.1 million every year, who hasn't taken a single pitch since 2000.
You know, the thing about the Bobby Bonilla is that they got out of the contract. It allowed them to get Mike Hampton and that free agency. And he was a quality pitcher for the 1 year he was with the Mets. They brought them to the 2000 World Series.
That is true.
He was a quality pitcher, and he won. I think he won NLCS MVP that year too. But then they let him go. They got a comp draft pick. Do you want to know who that comp draft pick was?
Who?
David Wright.
Are you kidding? Wow, I thought that was gonna be a Will Ponian mistake, but apparently you ended up failing upwards. That's cool. It's like the Odell Beckham trade. It's like a horrible, horrendous move.
But we had Jarrell Peppers, and we happened to get Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, like we happened to throw a dart at Dexter Lawrence, who the draft pick at the time made no sense. Drafting Dexter Lawrence made no sense at the time, but he's now, in my opinion, the best interior. In my opinion, the best interior with defensive lineman. Okay, Chris Jones. That's tough. That's tough. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that. I don't know if I'd say that Chris Jones is necessarily better than Dexter Lawrence. I'm just gonna be straight up. The only interior lineman that I'm confidently saying is better than Dexter Lawrence is Aaron Donald. And that's only because Aaron Donald is literally the best interior defender of all time. Like, if it wasn't for Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White, he would be the greatest defensive player of all time. Like that's like straight up
Yeah.
with Aaron Donald. Like that's
But
how good he is.
yeah, in terms of like going back to like to hockey real quickly, just in terms of like who the Rangers are really looking towards. I mentioned like Patrick Beek was at the game, the Ducks GM. People are speculating that might be a Frank Vitrano and Adam Henrique trade.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. No, I
Adam Henrique.
cannot bear to see him in that jersey. Please.
Listen.
Please. The Rangers have tormented me enough all year. I cannot bear to see Adam Henrique hoisting the Stanley Cup in a Rangers uniform.
Listen,
I think that would I don't know if that would kill me. It would
okay. Jeez.
It would come close. It would come close. It wouldn't. Like,
Listen,
it would like just the sight of it would cause me to like it would cause my body to just
listen. It hurts me than more it hurt you because I hate Adam Henrique with a passion. I hate
wonder
him.
why.
He was he gave me like the first traumatic Ranger experience of my life.
The first traumatic. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right, because you were like what, 9-10 years old for that series?
Yeah, it's 10 years. But yeah, I'm disgusted. I would hate having Adam Henrique because I hate him.
Dude, Adam Henrique is exactly what you're looking for, though.
Yes.
I want the Devils to make a move for him. I want, like, if the Devils were in a position to compete, I would I would be spending every show banging my fist on the table for Adam Henrique.
Jack just says like Ellsbury and pinstripes.
Like Ellsbury and pinstripes. Jacoby Ellsbury in. Well, the thing with Jacoby Ellsbury,
you could have had.
Okay, I feel like the more accurate version is Johnny Damon because Johnny Damon actually was a pretty good Yankee. Won a World Series. I think he hit a couple home runs in the playoffs.
Freaking Johnny Damon, like being clean shaven is just wrong, though. Too.
Although, hey, nobody likes to bring this up when it comes to the Yankee beard rule, but there are some guys who it does them a service. Like Alex Verdugo, he had the most ugly. I don't know if it's like a prerequisite for the Red Sox
to have ugly beards,
to have a horrible. I know that thing stunk. That thing did not look well kept up. No product, nothing. It was just an ugly. It was a neck beard. He had an ugly neck beard. He looked like a Discord mod that played baseball.
No, bro, you did not just say Discord mod.
Yes, I caught Alex Verdugo looked like a Discord mod when he played for the Boston Red Sox.
That is foul. Man, was it really that bad?
It looked horrible.
Now,
it looked horrible. I hated Alex Verdugo's beard when he was in Boston. Him clean shaven as a Yankee. Sure, he has a baby face. That's why he grew the beard. Like most guys who grow beards, like they have baby faces. It's like you look like you have a strong jawline now, but I guarantee if you shave that beard, you've
seen me clean shaven.
Yeah, I have seen you clean shaven. That's why I'd say like you look like you grew a jawline. Look at it. Yep. I see that smirk. Yeah, you see it. You definitely see it.
I mean, it's not great.
Not
really great.
That looks horrible.
It looks pretty bad.
It's bad. Dude, he did not keep that thing up at all.
But it just feels right at home at Boston somewhat for some reason. I don't know. But it does look bad. I will say that it does not look great. But yeah, I don't know what the Rangers are gonna do. They can't. I was thinking maybe they could get Vlad Tarasenko again, but it's been brought to my knowledge they can't retain salary on his if he was to come back to the Rangers because he was on their roster within the last calendar year.
Really?
They can't retain salary if they were to get him again.
Mm.
And he's making $5 million this year. So if they were going to acquire him, that is their only move they would be able to make. And I gotta tell you, as much as the right wing one is a problem, they got may stir up some more stuff on the roster.
Yeah, because like the Rangers, and this has been an issue with them the last. I'm saying like objectively speaking. I'm not saying this as a snooty Devils fan. I'm saying this like as someone who like observes them and has seen them, like had seen their downfall the last couple years. You guys are incredibly top heavy.
Yeah.
Dude, if your stars don't show up, you have nobody else. If Igor Shesterkin is not standing on his head, if the power play is not executing, and if your stars like Panarin, Zibanejad, basically like those are the two main drivers in your offense.
Yeah.
To be completely real.
Zibanejad needs to start scoring 5 and 5, but now it's March and it's Mika March.
Yeah,
right
March.
Now.
So Mika Zibanejad's going to score 15 goals.
He has 101 points in 97 games in March.
I thought he'd have a lot more than that.
I think it's probably more. It's probably like more like recently.
I figured it like the way you talk about it, I figured he'd have 120 points in like
it's definitely up there. I gotta take a look again. But like,
isn't that the month where he had like the 5-goal game?
Yes, that was one of that. It was in March. March. I don't know what happens, but when the calendar turns to March, Mika Zibanejad becomes like a god of like.
Yeah, he turns into Mark Messier, is what you're saying.
I mean, Messier is the Messiah. I don't know if Zibanejad's that level, but he is like an elite center. He is like a number one center in March for whatever reason, which, hey, I'm not going to complain about if that happens again. And also, March is a big testing stick for the Rangers anyway, because they are facing a ton of playoff teams starting on Saturday night against the Leafs.
The Leafs, you can never take the Leafs seriously, though. Really, it's like
they've won a lot of games.
No
recently.
Team looks at the Toronto Maple Leafs on their schedule and really says, "Whoa, boy, this is gonna be a rough one."
They're definitely not saying that after getting Ilya Lyubushkin last night. Or sorry, getting him back.
Ilya Lyubushkin.
Yep.
What does he do for the Leafs?
They have a defenseman now. They have a right-handed defenseman now.
Wow. The Leafs finally got
because now Mark Giordano's on IR now, and Timothy Liljegren's like hurt too. So they kind of need defensemen right now. And on top of that, John Klingberg's done right now. God, his agent did him dirty.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh my God, that's a whole other discussion. But
again, nobody takes the Leafs seriously. Like that is again.
No, the thing
it's like nobody's overly intimidated about it. Everyone's like, yeah, they're really skilled. They have those core guys. Sure, they can beat you. Like even when the Leafs beat the Devils in the regular season a couple times last year, I'm like,
you know what?
I'd like our chances against them in a playoff series. So and you'd like your chances against them in the playoffs.
I do, but also
the Leafs and Rangers. Rangers win that series.
You say like, oh, you can't, don't really take them too seriously. But also, the terrifying part is, I don't want to be the team that loses to them.
True.
That is terrifying. Also, you know what else is terrifying on the Leafs?
Tampa Bay Lightning last year. That's a horrible. That's
that's
going to follow them around forever. They're going to be until the Leafs start stringing together more series wins, which I have no faith in them.
The Leafs have won 8 of their last 9 also too, so they're doing pretty good right now. And also,
because Austin Matthews is scoring at a ridiculous. That guy is
that guy's a real deal.
Stupid.
50 goals.
Stupid.
He's like the whole.
Okay, hold up. Pull up his stats.
I'm gonna pull up his stats.
Read me his numbers.
He's got.
Chat. Let's have a look at this.
Let's have a look at this chat. He has played 58 games this year. He has 78 points, 53 of those are goals.
In 58 games.
53 goals in 58 games. To put that into context,
Ovechkin in his prime
didn't
never
even
did
do
that.
that. Didn't even do that. No one
Who was the last guy to do that? Who? Teemu Solani?
He scored 76. I think the last person to score like that quickly was like Mario Lemieux. He scored 50 goals in that quickly.
Wow, dude. This is not counting Wayne Gretzky. Because Gretzky's the obvious outlier here because Wayne Gretzky
won the MVP like 9 MVPs in his first 10 years. 9 of them were MVP. And the one year he did was Mario Lemieux, like I think winning, like going off.
Yeah, Mario Lemieux is the okay. Let's just get this out of the way. There are people, and I'm starting to see it now. People who are starting to discredit Wayne Gretzky because he played in an easier era where the goalies weren't as good.
Listen,
Connor McDavid. No.
Listen.
No, stop it. Stop it.
You know what my rebuttal?
What?
Get rid of his goals. Still the number 1 point getter of all time.
Yeah, and then they say, oh, he had good teammates. Which, I mean, that's objectively true. The 80s Oilers were a ridiculous team.
They had Gretzky, Messier, Curry, Gary Curry, Glenn Anderson, Paul Coffey on their blue line.
Marty McSorley.
Kevin Lowe,
Grant Fuhrer.
And Marty McSorley was just a goon. You know, Adam Graves was actually a Oiler like towards the end of that run,
and he ended up being a Ranger in 1994.
I mean, yeah, but
the Royals. I mean, the Royals. That's what that team was. It was just all the 80s Oilers.
Oh man, surely one of those guys won the Conn Smythe that year. Man, if they were really that good. I wonder who won the Conn Smythe.
Brian Leach is one of the Brian Leach.
Brian Leach was the first American-born player to win the Conn Smythe.
It took all the way until 1994 for that to happen.
Yes,
it's insane.
People should grovel at the feet of Brian Leach when they talk about greatest American players of all time. Grovel.
He is so overlooked.
He is so overlooked
in terms of defensemen all time. Brian Leach is the most overlooked, or not,
and that's crazy because he was so
one
great.
Of the most overlooked players of all time,
and that is crazy because he was so great.
He's in the Hall of Fame, right? Please tell me he's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, he is.
Okay, good.
The Rangers have only drafted 3 Hall of Famers ever.
Leach, Hank,
and Brad Park. Another great player, by the way.
When did he play?
70s and 80s.
That's why I know hockey history doesn't exist to me until 1982.
and he was a part of one of the more not well received trades in Rangers history when they traded him and Jean Rattel to Boston for Phil Esposito.
Oh, Phil Esposito.
Hey, Esposito wasn't bad as a Ranger, but he was the bad guy. He was on the Bruins forever, and he was a bad guy to the Rangers, and they traded away their heart and soul with Rattel and Park to get him.
That'd be like the Yankees trading Aaron Judge for Jose Altuve.
Have you ever heard the story how they're going to trade Ted Williams for Joe DiMaggio?
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard about that
story one time,
dude. And I'll be honest, as much as I love Joe DiMaggio.
Oh, and Brian Leach also captained the '96 World Cup of Hockey team too.
Oh yeah, that's right. To him and Richter.
Richter won them that game.
Richter won them that championship single-handedly.
Yeah.
But also, back to Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio. As amazing as Joe DiMaggio was, and my father would kill me if he hears this. Ted Williams, that's an upgrade.
Hey,
I'm only saying it because it's Ted friggin' Williams.
Left-handed hitter at Yankee Stadium.
Old Yankee Stadium. And Joe DiMaggio, although Joe DiMaggio at Fenway Park.
You know what?
And Joe DiMaggio, mind you, Joe DiMaggio had the career he had in old Yankee Stadium, old Yankee Stadium. That left field, that you want to talk about cavernous. Left field and left center,
Death Valley.
The gaps.
It was literally called Death Valley.
Oh yeah. They had the monuments in play. Baseball stadiums used to be built like super slugger stadiums with obstacles in there.
Yeah.
I mean, Tal's Hill in Houston. hit the flagpole.
Freak,
I love watching clips of guys just like center fielders tracking down fly balls and then just wham into the ball.
the City Field when was first in its first like rendition with the freaking Great Wall of Flushing and like the deep cavernous like park where no one it's that every Met player of their power that one year when it was first built. That no one could hit a home run.
All of their barreled fly balls were hit to that part of the ballpark.
Yes, a lot of that. Like it was so deep. It was so deep. And the wall was like super high up too. And
oh man.
But yeah.
Want to talk about baseball now?
I guess
like,
for a little
we spent
bit.
half an hour about hockey, so like we'll talk about spring training's been happening. That's pretty fun. I just want I'm gonna gush a little bit here. I'm gonna read out the Yankee lineup for today.
The Jack put in the comments saying like trading like Mattel and Park for Espo was like, or at least according to one of his professors, like trading Jeter and Pettit for Manny Ramirez.
Oh man,
it was like kind of like that.
Yeah, that's okay.
To put in the context.
Oh,
but yeah, you can gush over the Yankees now.
The internet here is not that great, but don't worry, I memorized the 1 through 5. So pretty much the Yankee 1 through 5 tonight. Garrett Cole on the mound.
Mm-hmm.
It goes LeMahieu,
right?
Soto, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton. And
how will this team not make the playoffs?
And in case now there are 2 people in there who I am certain are going to perform. That's Soto and Judge. No, like
how will this team not make the playoffs?
Like the main reason I'm not bought in completely on this team is because it hinges on there's too much variance. LeMahieu, you don't know if he's gonna be a proper leadoff guy. Rizzo, you don't know
how healthy he is.
You don't know if he's gonna have like concussion issues. Stanton, I mean, God, that guy's a living question mark. Even though he did sort of reframe his entire body this offseason by shedding like 30 pounds of, I'm assuming, muscle. I'm assuming he laid off the weights, which I've been saying for years is what has been his issue with injuries, because when you work out, when you lift, and I know it's because like my mom, like she works in massage, so like she does all the muscles and stuff. It's like when you work out too much, your muscles get all tense, and when you play an endurance sport and a flexibility sport like baseball,
yep,
you are gonna have issues. Like his hamstrings. How often do you think he was doing like 400-pound squats? I don't know if he was squatting 400, but he's not Saquon Barkley. But like he was squatting like 250.
That's a whole other topic. Saquon Barkley. That's
like
a whole other
conservatively. Topic. Stanton was squatting like 250,
right?
Like every week in the gym. That like tension built in those muscles that contributed to him getting hurt. And this offseason, it looks like he's laid off the weights, which I think is a good thing.
Listen,
I think if he put in the right work, he's still naturally big enough to be able to have a lot of power. And if these are the list of ifs that are preventing me from really buying in. If DJ LeMahieu can keep up his form from the second half last year,
right?
If Anthony Rizzo can bounce back and not have concussion issues, if Giancarlo Stanton can hit fastballs again, if Anthony Volpe can get on base, if
Gleyber Torres.
Gleyber Torres is not an if. Okay, Gleyber Torres is another player I'm fine with.
Yeah. I'm fine. I like Gleyber Torres.
If Alex Verdugo can adapt to Yankee Stadium left field. And now onto the pitching. If Marcus Stroman can be consistent. If Carlos Rodon can bounce back. If Nestor Cortez can bounce back. If we get a young guy come up like Clayton Beater, who looked fantastic in his spring training start against the Marlins last night. If he or some other young pitcher can come up and perform. All of those ifs are what is preventing me from really buying into this team. Because if this team, like if LeMahieu bounces back, if Rizzo bounces back, if
Exactly.
Stan bounces back, like if we get the 80th percentile outcome out of all of those guys, if those guys can perform
Mm-hmm.
alongside, if they can be the players that they can be with Soto and Judge doing their thing, I don't think there's a better team in the American League. I'm just going to be straight up. If the Yankees can play the way that I know they can play, if they check all the boxes, if they answer all the questions, I think this team can. This is a team that can win a World Series. If they. Now, I'm saying can. I'm not saying they will. I am still very apprehensive about this team. I think they probably squeak into a wild card spot, especially with the playoff format now. But I think nowadays, or not, what am I thinking? But like, nowadays was part of the previous point. But I think if this Yankee team plays up to their potential, this is a team that can win 100 games, easily win their division, or not easily to the Orioles, but although the
I was
Yankees,
about to say.
the Yankees playing to their full potential are a better team than the Orioles. But
Alright.
the But in terms of other teams, I can see this Yankee team very much being a force to be reckoned with.
Oh yeah.
And not to imagine, like, if they get to the playoffs, if Judge and Soto are on a big run, are on a heater at the same time, alongside Stanton and Rizzo and Torres contributing, that's a recipe for a World Series.
I just
That is a championship recipe right there.
You just gotta tell Giancarlo Stanton, that's the person we started off with. Tell him he's playing a team in the orange and blue called the Mets every day. Just tell him that.
There's got to be some.
Just tell him that
There's got to be some.
he'll have like 100 home runs this year. Then, if you tell him that, just that, I would know. Now, speaking of that team, the Mets,
To put on like some visors, like give them glasses that
Apple Vision,
the Apple Vision Pro. Yeah, have them wear the Apple Vision Pro. I mean, hey, it costs. The Yankees can afford it. They're one of the few things on the planet that can afford that thing.
because now they got the advertisers on the jerseys.
Oh yeah, they have the Star Insurance patch
Star
on their
Insurance.
jerseys, and they can afford that.
They could.
If they get Giancarlo Stanton to wear that in the batter's box, I think and they put the Met uniforms on those, which I think the Apple Vision Pro is capable
Could
of.
probably do that, yeah.
Given its price tag, it should be able to fabricate anything out of thin air with the 20 something million pixels that are on some ridiculous
It is
number.
ridiculous.
But there's got to be, they can pull that off.
Yep.
And if Giancarlo Stanton can do that, I think he can probably hit like 40 bombs.
Oh yeah,
in 1 year,
and hopefully stay healthy.
Yeah. Hopefully stay healthy. What's been going on with the Mets?
They were on a 4-game win streak recently in spring training. People have been playing well.
Winning streaks in spring training, Matt.
I know, but like, hey,
it's still when you watch spring training, you mostly just look out for individuals to do better.
One of those individuals who's stepping up right now, and it's a big year for him because now that Kodai Senga is going to be out for like a month to start the season, he's going to be out to start the season. Tyler McGill has been stringing a good outing. Has been stringing some good performances at spring training this year. To start out with a guy with a lot of question marks. And Tyler McGill is someone I like wholeheartedly want to believe in, and I want him to succeed. I love Tyler McGill. However, he keeps hurting me every time. But he's developed a new pitch, a forkball. He's developed like Senga.
The forkball, yep.
He's calling it the American spork, which I love. and it's funny. But he went like 3 innings. I think he had like 2 outings so far, or he pitched like 5 innings, only given like 1 run in that time. So I'm feeling pretty confident in that. I think honestly that last spot in the rotation right now that's been left because of Senga, he's gonna be in the rotation, I think, to start the year. And I think deservingly so if he keeps up the pace at spring training so far. He's been really good. I am hoping he becomes like a quality pitcher because I believe in Tyler McGill. I am his number one supporter. But you know who else I've been impressed by? Adrian Hauser. He had a good outing, his first outing. Tyrone Taylor. He's hitting really well. The two guys we got from Milwaukee this offseason. I'm happy about them. I think if Starling Marte is like not healthy at all at any points, I can feel very comfortable with putting in Tyrone Taylor in the at right field every day, alongside Nimmo and Beatty. No, Bader. Brett Beatty is another guy who I also believe in. You know,
Yeah, I think Brett Beatty is.
he's not having a great spring so far, but also Mets fans, if you have a problem with Brett Beatty, just remember it's March. It's literally March. The games don't matter until they start.
They don't matter until April.
And even though here I am just giving Tyler McGill like the biggest props in the world right now in spring training to contradict myself. Listen, it's optimistic.
It's narrative ball. That's
it's narrative ball too. Mark Vientos hit a home run today too, and I'm
Mark Vientos.
Mark Vientos. That's another guy. And
another guy.
Luis Severino had his first outing with the Mets, pitched 2 innings, had 1 strikeout, no earned runs. He was pumping up like 98 miles an hour on his fastball.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm liking that very much. Though the replacement, Blade Tidwell, one of the best pitching prospects in the Mets system, has not had a great outing. Even though he's had 4 strikeouts, he's given up 3 runs to the Cardinals in 1.2 innings. But that's another guy. That's one of their better pitching prospects. But he's still like kind of young. So I'm not too worried about him. And yeah, Jet Williams, that dude gets on base every time. Every time he steps up to the box, he just might as well go to first base by that point. He gets on base, and he's an absolute demon on the base paths. He's like stealing bases left and right, and is like causing havoc, along with Luis Angel Acuna, who's been playing pretty well recently. So in that regards, I'm excited for the prospects. Really excited. Drew Gilbert's been okay here and there. You know, I think Drew Gilbert might be the guy who gets the first call up out of the group that they have right now. If something were to go down, but Pete Alonso doing Pete Alonso things still too. He's hitting home runs. Francisco Alvarez, generational. Hopefully, he is generational.
That guy's really good at baseball.
He is so good. He's just the one thing for him, in my opinion. He's got to get his like on base numbers up a bit, on base percentage up just a tad bit. But I mean,
he's a catcher.
I know he's a cat. I was about to get into that.
Any offense
from your catcher,
any positive offense from a catcher who can defend is a luxury.
Trust me, we used to have James McCann out there. I know how premium offense is to get out of your catcher. There's like how there's a photo from Twitter the other day. You see that we used to have Aaron Hicks out there.
That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen on the internet. It's so basically it's Aaron Judge and Juan Soto sitting in the dugout.
And Judge is pointing
and like that's Juan Soto and Judge, like, you know, they're chopping it up, talking. I love how like much Soto's like integrated himself into that clubhouse, by the way. But it's Judge basically pointing in the outfield.
Yep.
And it's a tweet, it's a caption where it says, yeah, we used to have Aaron Hicks out there. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like,
you're cracking up here.
When you showed that to me at the lunch table,
that was Nick.
Yeah, and when Nick showed me that, I started
dying. I was dying a bit too. But yeah, I mean, pessimism is the name of the game for the Mets. So you could like absolutely.
You're
Like,
very optimistic about the Mets. So,
I
like, I
know.
commend that about you.
I mean, there's also not much pressure this time because I'm like, all right, whatever happens, happens. Whereas like the last couple of years, you were supposed to be a good team with your $40 million pitchers instead of them just going, oh, he's got to pitch better, man. I can't. After every start, giving up a home run, and now Max Scherzer is a bum. He's injured, and we got one of our top prospects for him. Thank you, Texas. You got your World Series in spite of Max Scherzer not pitching very well either.
Max Scherzer has been on 4 teams in his career. He has been to a World Series with 3 of them. The only team that he hasn't been to a World Series with, the New York Mets.
Honestly, sounds about right. Because of
Because
his own fault.
Oh yeah, like he stunk it up
And
in all of his big games with the Mets. He pitched horribly.
He pitched so well in 2022, but his everlasting legacy is going to be like those last 2 starts of
the
his
final start
of the
against the
22.
Braves. You just need to win one of those games. And
We needed to win one of those freaking games
to win the division. And then nope. The
Braves use their infinite.
The Braves never lose.
They just don't. Except when they go to the wild card. Except when the new playoff format, it's so unfavorable. Whoa! We had all this offense it was totally not because our offense like went shrivel up and did nothing. That great offense they supposedly had
against the Philadelphia Phillies,
against
a
the
team
Philadelphia.
that has many questions with their starting rotation.
But the playoff format's why we lost, even though we won the division. It's so, and we had this great offense. We had a 40-70 player who did nothing, and the one time they won the World Series is when that guy wasn't there. So was he really that valuable to his own team? Is he? Is Ronald Acuna Jr. really valuable to his own team? I'm going to die on this hill.
I would say he is valuable to his own
team.
Wow.
Yes. Man, tell it to the playoff stat line.
The main reason that Braves team won the
sorry, no, he's also making only like what, $5 million per year now for the next 500 years or something like that. Man, what a sham he got.
The main reason why the Braves won the World Series that year is because you had Eddie Rosario and Jorge Soler pull week-long Ruthian stretches out of nowhere.
Oh, you know who didn't do that? Ronald Acuna Jr.
If Ronald Acuna Jr. were on that team at
they
the
lose.
Same time as no,
they lose.
I still think they win I think they win the World Series.
Oh man, he was there for the last 2 times and they didn't. And they didn't win. Why is that?
Freddie Freeman wasn't there. Maybe.
Oh, but Matt Olson had 50 home runs. What happened there? Oh yeah, that's right.
Everyone,
nothing because they're terrible. They're the Packers of baseball. I'm not wrong on that.
You're not. I mean, you're really not. I mean, I disagree with your point on Acuna, but
am I wrong though? How wrong am I? Everything I just said was factually true.
Yeah, they did.
I rest my case.
Ewing theory.
Now Kevin to the Mets, please.
Ewing theory. Ewing theory. Remember, you're aware of what the Ewing theory is, right?
Yeah.
It's like when a team loses their best player for some reason, they just play better. It came from the 1999 New York Knicks, where they lost to obviously Patrick Ewing.
Then they went on
a run to the NBA Finals, led by Latrell Sprewell
and like Allen Houston.
Yeah, Allen Houston.
Those Knicks teams were great.
That was a wacky little Knicks team, and they got bodied
by the
Spurs.
And
everybody did. It was the Spurs or the Lakers. Like, take your pick in the late 90s and early 2000s.
I did not expect
I didn't expect
Pop,
if it wasn't Pop and the Spurs. Like, after Michael Jordan retired,
it was Lakers and Spurs.
it was that opened up a power vacuum that was filled up immediately by the Lakers and Spurs.
You know who was also playing well?
And like after the Spurs had their little run, it was the It was the Kobe Shaq Lakers.
Yep.
And yeah, it was
You know
pretty
who?
sad. But again, like Ewing theory, maybe that was why the Ronald Acuna lists Braves ended up winning the World Series. The 1 year
They can keep him then. In that case, they'll never win then.
although what if you pull what if the Mets in the last week of the season pull a who was the linebacker who hit Drew Bledsoe?
I don't know.
I'm blanking on this. Mo Lewis. Mo Lewis. I think that
Okay.
was his name. I think his name was Mo Lewis.
I-
And injures Ronald Acuna in the last week of the regular season, and then
I'll be scared.
the Braves go on to win the World Series. In your opinion, based on what you have said on this program right now,
Yes.
it would be all because of some guy on the New York Mets who hurt Ronald Acuna in like the final week of the regular season.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to deal with another Braves World Series.
Too bad they're just like the Packers, though.
But if Acuna is hurt, according to you, they win the World Series. If Acuna is hurt,
yeah. But then what if they don't? What if they don't? Then I win no matter what. Then
I personally don't really have any problems with the Braves.
yeah, because you don't play them.
But yeah, I mean, and the Yankees in the '90s owned the Braves, so what do I care?
Oh, and they're great, and they're three great pitchers that they only got one World Series out of.
Oh boy. Okay, I don't think we have enough time
But
for you to go on a tangent about
I didn't expect to get on the Braves.
The Smoltz, Maddox, Glava. I mean, I hate John Smoltz.
I hate John Smoltz too. I hate when they go on to Fox and John Smoltz is calling the freaking game. I hate it so much.
Oh no, he hates the Yankees too, and I think it's because of. I think he resents the. I don't know, I don't know if it was Andy Pettitte or in the '96 World Series. Actually, I think it was Andy Pettitte who. It was him. It was Pettitte or Cohn who won like an intense pitcher's duel with John Smoltz. I think it was in like game 3 of that series.
Mm-hmm.
And like game 3 or game 4. And he still holds that resentment. Like he holds that grudge against the Yankees. And he goes on to doing his old man yells at cloud routine.
Yeah. Just two more things before we get off here. The one thing I wanted to mention before going on my whole tangent about the Braves, one surprising spot for the Mets so far in the spring training is Trice Thompson. He's been
Clay
crushing.
Thompson's brother.
Yeah, he's been crushing the baseball like recently too. He's been hitting home runs like left and right, and which makes me wonder, like, hey, they got some more solid depth on the outfield now. Love to see that. Hope he continues. I'm excited for some of the things the Mets have going on besides the pitching. Losing Senga does bum me out, but I don't. Again, I'm not expecting much. They just got to hang around, and whatever happens, happens. Not gonna get that upset either way, depending on how they lose or what happens. But baseball's here, but also it's still hockey season, and next week is gonna be
the trade deadline.
The trade deadline.
Well, we're gonna come at you with all that good stuff. So
we will have everything.
Anywhere. We will be back. Next week.
We will be a trade deadline frenzy. Day frenzy
at either 1 or 2 p.m., whichever time it is.
Whichever time. I mean, the deadline is at 3.
I mean, we will. Yeah, we're gonna have live reactions to
trades and break down a bunch of trades too.
We'll see which GMs we're gonna laugh at because, again, as we say on here all the time, hockey GMs are the dumbest people on the planet,
and yet they think these are the smartest ones.
So, anyways.
And I hope it's not George Jury that gets made fun of.
So, anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all have a good rest of your weekend. No midterms are happening right now. Good luck. Make sure you study up. And so you don't have to drop out. And
Oh, and I also will be going to the Iona
And-
Quinnipiac game tonight.
I am not. I don't know. There's not as much juice around the team this year.
I know, yeah, that's a
I don't
bummer.
know. But anyways, this has been Ball Knowers on WIUR from Luke Dolan.
Have a great day, everyone. See you next week. See you next week for the trade deadline.
I am Cameron Woolley, signing off.
Take care.
I'm gonna get the
Get up.